Hello there! Do you want to be an effective and engaging Open Platoon leader? Then I have a series of tips on what you should work on to become a more successful Open Platoon leader. But why would you want to lead Open Platoons in the first place? Well, there are a few reasons for that. You might simply want to get some certain XP, in which case leading will help you get a lot of those. That is, if you're not already an efficient solo farmer. You might also be interested in recruiting some members for your outfit. In this case, leading Open Platoons is a solid way to attract people looking for an outfit. Also, you might just be interested in that shiny helmet over there. But first, a little disclaimer. Every leader has a different experience and a different opinion of what a good platoon is. Therefore, the tips I will give after this are based mainly on my experience and what I think is a good platoon. I'm mainly going to explain what worked for me and what I learned. Number 1. The golden rule. Keep things simple. First tip, and really what constitutes, I think, the golden rule of platoon leading. Keep things simple. The orders that you give should be simple to understand and execute. The simpler your order, the higher the number of people that will actually follow that order. Get into that building, get on point, bring some sundies, redeploy to that base, throw some grenades in, regroup on platoon waypoint, etc. Orders should be simple, and ideally you want to describe only a single action at a time. That golden rule is essential as it plays into some of the following tips I'll give you next. Use your platoon's momentum. You just captured a base. Congrats. But what do you do now? You can redeploy your platoon to a base on the other side of the map. You can deploy galaxies to have everyone spawn into them. Or you could just move to the next base over. What option sounds easier? Well, obviously the latter one. It is very easy and simple to give the following order. Let's move to the next base. Bring some sundies over there, please. Moving down the lane is what most of your platoon's members would have done naturally anyway. And if on top of that you ask them to bring sundies, you will easily end up with half a dozen spawns at the next base, serving both your platoon and the players outside of your platoon that want a fresh fight. It's a win-win. However, this strategy is also what leads to zergs. If you're not getting a fight after a couple of bases, consider switching front instead of going further down the lane. Spend time looking at the map. As a platoon leader, you will spend a lot of time looking at the map. There are a few things you want to look out for. Where to get a good fight, what bases to take to trigger the alerts, what bases not to take to avoid a double team, what bases not to lose. Solving these problems requires experience. You will get good at this with some practice. Just make sure you are using your platoon correctly, both to serve your faction in the best way and to make sure that your members are having fun. How to redeploy your platoon. Asking your platoon to redeploy is actually a bit more tricky than it looks. It requires more than one order to do properly. Indeed, you need to ask for a redeploy, and then you need to explain where to redeploy to, a base to defend, a base to put sundies from, a galaxy to spawn into, etc. It might not sound like much, but remember the golden rule. The more complex your order is, the fewer people will follow it. To make sure my members redeploy properly, I use a few things. First, I ask for the redeploy in a very clear way. Redeploy, redeploy, press that U key and redeploy. The order is tripled and I even tell people what key to press to follow my order. Then I place down the platoon waypoint to where we want to go. And here things change depending on what you want to do. If you want your platoon to spawn into galaxies, put down a waypoint at where you want your galaxy to be spawned at and then call for the galaxies. Then order your players to spawn into the galaxies. If you want to defend a base, I recommend putting down a waypoint onto the spawn you want to use and call for your players to spawn on that. Also, order your platoon to put down beacons at the new base, as the spawn might disappear after some of your players spawn. Put down beacons, make sure we have beacons for every squad. If you want to have sundies rolling to a new base, then I recommend using two waypoints. Platoon waypoint for the base to attack, and a squad waypoint to indicate what terminal to pull the sundies from. Pull some sundies from Alpha waypoint and bring them to Platoon waypoint. Those who are not spawning a sundie just redeploy into the existing ones. Double or triple your command. Quite often, members of your platoon will not catch your order the first time. Maybe because they were getting shot at or simply because they weren't paying attention. So they might miss your order. The fix is simple. Repeat your order a second time, maybe even a third time. Thus, your first order will actually serve to catch the attention of your platoon, while your repeat will actually convey what you want from your platoon. Keep talking. your platoon needs to know that you are actively leading. Likewise, if a person joins the platoon, he quickly wants to know if you are actually leading or just putting down waypoints. This is why you should be talking a fair bit, and there are a few things that you can regularly say that don't necessarily have much value, but allow you to communicate that you are still there. For instance, during a point hold, you could say, "So far so good, let's keep this up. The population isn't equal yet, but stay focused." A sentence every now and then is good, but don't overdo it, otherwise your members will stop listening and they won't catch your orders. Keep your platoon's morale high. This advice is rarely mentioned, but this is an important one. If your platoon's morale is high, you will get better cohesion and overall better results. If your members are not enjoying their time, they will stop following your orders properly and your platoon will suffer from it. A few things can negatively affect your platoon's morale. For instance, getting kicked out of a base multiple times in a row, or not getting a proper fight. If you feel that the morale is low, there is something you can do. Bring your platoon to what looks like a balanced fight for just a few minutes. Ideally, you want a balanced fight in which you have a slight population advantage, that way you also make sure that you're going to win this fight, bringing your morale back up. There are also things you can say to preserve morale in your platoon even after a defeat. If you try to capture a base and got kicked out, you can say, "Ah well, it was a nice attempt anyway. You guys did well, let's keep this up." Cheering your platoon up, even in defeat, really helps in keeping your players' attention. Try to get dedicated squad leaders. Now, this might not be possible for you, but if you are part of an outfit and you can get some of your friends to be squad leaders, it will make leading your platoon much easier. For instance, if you have dedicated leaders that are ready to pull galaxies at a moment's notice, then every redeploy using galaxies will be much easier. If you don't have squad leaders, it's fine. But moving your troops around might be a little bit harder and less snappy. How to start your platoon. Now, this isn't really about making you a better leader, but I can't really do a list of tips on how to lead an open platoon without at least mentioning how to start one. So I will just quickly put that here. The important thing when attracting people to your platoon is to already have a significant number of players with you. Nobody is going to join an open platoon that has just 2 people in it. So there are really 3 ways to start a platoon. Be in an outfit and invite everyone in your outfit to join your platoon. Have a group of friends, start in your squad to have a few members to start with. Spam squad invites around you to get a few players to start with. Now, I recommend not doing this if you can avoid it because, well, it's annoying. But if you can't avoid it, then go ahead, I guess. There is actually a 4th way to start your platoon effectively, and that is to build a good reputation. If you lead regularly and always at the same time, people will get used to seeing your platoon running, and they will get in a habit of joining it. Also, you can use the colored description to make your description pop in the squad finder. It's not much, but it attracts the eye, so your squad is the first thing people see when they open the squad finder. Things don't always work out. It is very hard to consistently get a good platoon running. Sometimes you will get a very reactive and well-behaved platoon and you will capture a lot of bases. Other days you might get a sluggish platoon that just doesn't work. And it's not necessarily your fault. This can be caused by outside factors. Your faction getting double teamed, getting overpopped everywhere you go, having skill feats regularly drop on you and push back your platoon repeatedly. This can lower your platoon's morale and make your leading worse. There are good days and there are bad days. It's fine, it's okay. Just don't get discouraged by a bad day. There we are. These were a few tips that should make you a better platoon leader. But really, what matters most is you getting the practice in. Go out there and lead. You will develop your style of leading and get better at it. Did I miss any tip you think is important? Let me know in the comments. If you want to see how I lead, feel free to subscribe. I will release videos of me leading open platoons. You can also catch me live at twitch.tv/axel_, where I lead an open platoon every Saturday afternoon. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.